That is the biggest mistake. It is not a battle over land. How many times do the Jewish people have to prove that? We've gave back Gaza in 2005. It was a complete disengagement. In Oslo, we gave back lands. We gave back and gave back. But what does it always prove? The more you give, the more they want.
Hi, my name is Rabbi David Eliezrie, and it's my honor today to host Ariel Chesner.
Like the rabbi said, my name is Ariel Chesner. I'm the director of the Center for Religious Affairs.
We're going to talk today about Israel. What is the right of the Jewish people to this piece of land, and what connects them there?
I mean, it's such a simple answer, right? I think it was the Rabbi who actually said we have to not be embarrassed to quote the real answer. And the real answer is, the first Rashi on Chumash, which basically brings the Midrash of Amar Rabbi Yitzchak. Hashem took Eretz Yisrael from the Goyim and gave it to us. And the Goyim are going to come and say, we're thieves for stealing Eretz Yisrael. But really, Hashem is the one who chose to give us Eretz Yisrael.
So you're arguing that God gave the land of the world, the land of Israel, to the Jewish people, and that's a unique destiny. So the nations of the world, people are going to come in the UN and other places. We're not really interested in what you believe.
First of all, my job is not to convince the other people about what to believe and what not to believe, not even the news or the UN or anybody. I'll tell you what I learned in my experience. The Rebbe said, how many answers, what answer hasn't been given already? And has it sufficed? How did that work out for you? Giving all the logical explanations about, we returned after the Holocaust, we were always here, we never left, the UN agreed in the partition plan. Nothing ever holds water. What does the Middle East accept? They accept when the Jew shows strength in what he believes in. And we believe in that. And if you show that you believe in that, I believe the world will also respect you.
If we believe in the biblical promise that the land of Israel was given by God to the Jewish people, if we have that conviction, even if they don't have that conviction, they're going to respect our conviction?
That's all that matters, yes. I think, by the way, if you look at it the opposite way, look at the Palestinians. They believe in their conviction. They believe they're oppressed. They believe the land was stolen from them, and the whole world believes them. And they're victorious because they stick to their belief firmly. I'm not saying it's parallel because, again, they're the underdogs, so they do have some support from that end as well. But I believe that a strong Jew, a proud Jew, is a much stronger argument than a weak Jew, a soft Jew, an apologetic Jew. We have to believe in our roots. Those are our roots. That's our origin. And if we don't believe in that, then anything else won't help.
But let's step back a few moments and ask us the bigger question. Here we have Jews fighting for the homeland. Is this a battle which is worth it?
Do you know what I heard? There's a very famous journalist in Israel. His name is Amit Segal. He wears a kippah, he's Orthodox, and he goes to the places where he's not welcome. But he's so smart that they like listening to him. And he said, I heard this from him personally, there's a certain stage in a nation's existence where it's a make it or break it stage. We're not the founders. We're not even the sons of the founders anymore. The founders are so far from us. All of my generation and the younger generation in the army today, they were born into a Jewish state. They don't think it's something they take it for granted. We have become disconnected to our land, to our homeland. This is a land that we're born into, and you could give it back some of it, you could compromise it. What the October 7th did is it created a new generation of founders of the state of Israel. Nobody thought the soldiers today, the ones that are on TikTok and Instagram, who are great at social media, will be great fighters. But we were all proven wrong. These are all lions. That's what we say. They're lions. And they fight with such conviction that this is our battle. This is a battle of to exist or not. This is another 1948 era. And this has awakened the Jewish people in Israel, secular and religious alike. Everyone has understood one thing. Israel cannot be taken for granted. We are like a sheep among 70 wolves. We are surrounded by Arab countries, enemies who each one wants to destroy us. And I think that has revolutionized the younger generation in Israel today. And that is a change in the way we see ourselves in Israel today.
Is it coming to grips with the reality? Or is it really
I want to tell you a story. So amongst my trips that I visited many of the kibbutzim down south.
Many of them were established by the old socialist left parties.
Exactly.
Right.
The anti-religious, the peace now, all those who brought in workers from Gaza, they would drive them with their own personal vehicles. They would take them to hospitals. They believed in dual existence, in peace. And I went down and I asked this one wonderful woman who gave tours to many of the guys and girls that I brought. And I said to her, Sivan, I got to ask you, and please forgive me. I assume pre-October 7th you were a leftist. And we're already acquainted. So she was fine. She said, Ariel, you're right. I said, what are your views now? And she says to me, 180 degrees. Now I saw reality. Nobody on the other side wants me to survive here.
Isn't it a tragedy for that other side?
It is a tragic thing for the other side, but they are fighting a religious war. They believe with every last breath that they need to fight and annihilate Israel.
In America, they're portraying it as a battle over land.
It is the biggest mistake. It is not a battle over land. How many times do the Jewish people have to prove that? We gave back Gaza in 2005. It was a complete disengagement. In Oslo, we gave back lands. We gave back and gave back. But what does it always prove? The more you give, the more they want. Because the other side, they have conviction. They know that they think that they are right. And this is their land we robbed from them. So whenever we give, what is it proof of? The Jews are weak. And that's the Middle East. The West always tries to put its ideology on the person in the East. But they have to understand, we are in the Middle East, we're not in the West. They don't carry the same values. Equality? The Palestinians and the Arabs there have a very clear religious conception and ideology. And that is not what the West thinks. They don't want equality. They want Israel dead and gone. From the river to the sea. That it means all the state of Israel.
Well, the old joke here in America is people say from the river to the sea, they don't know which river.
They don't know which river and which sea, exactly.
So the sea is the Mediterranean Sea and the river is the Jordan River.
Exactly. That is the state of Israel. So what are we talking about? It's not land. It is not land. We have given back time after time. The Oslo Accords are the best example. What do we get after that? The Second Intifada. We get intifadas after that.
I want to go back to one other thing, which I don't think most people understand. You said that this is a religious war. But I don't think most people around the world know, here in the United States, we have a constitution, we have a Bill of Rights, which talks about freedom of religion and freedom of speech and all of these things. But Hamas, the terrorist organization which is controlled Gaza, which that control is being minimized as we talk right now, has a charter also. And that charter calls for their aspiration goals. And it's not freedom of speech and freedom of religion. It's rather the destruction of the state of Israel and the genocide of every Jew in the world.
Correct.
So when you say we're talking a religious battle, here is a religious fundamentalist group that has set up a mini-state, and in their foundational document, their charter or their constitution and their Bill of Rights, is the goals which they have, which is the genocide of every single Jew in the world, not just the Jew who happens to live on the border in Gaza, but the Jew who lives in Miami or Santiago, Chile, or Perth, Australia, but really the destruction of the Jewish people. It's nothing more than Mein Kampf dressed up in religious fundamentalism.
Completely. In Gaza, they found a Mein Kampf translated into Arabic. It was brought back. And in Gaza, what the soldiers say is that every home that they go into, there's a picture of Yerushalayim, of Jerusalem on the wall, because that is their aspiration. People think that there's the idea, again, the left used to think that there's the settlers are the problem. Settling in Judea and Samaria is the issue. That's what we're doing wrong. Stay within the green line, the borders of the state of Israel before 67. Why are you instigating battle and war?
I think we need to explain for a moment, what does that mean, borders before? In Israel was established in 1948, and it had certain borders. And 1967 was the Six-Day War, where Israel liberated Jerusalem and the West Bank and Judea and Samaria, and also Sinai, and eventually they gave back Sinai to the Egyptians. So you're saying those were the historical borders between 1948 and 1967,
right?
And it's called the Green Line.
Exactly.
And beyond that, so what you're contending is people said the problem was those Jews who chose to live beyond the Green Line.
I want to tell you a story of a video that was very famous that came after the October 7th. See, an Arab that films himself massacring Jews with pride and calling his parents. There's a video of an Arab yelling, a terrorist, Hamas terrorist, yelling to his father, Father, I've killed 10 Jews. And his father is saying, thank Allah Akbar, God is great. That is not someone who does this over land. That's out of strong conviction that this is what he needs to do. And what he said to his father is he said, I am in the settler's land. He wasn't in Judea and Samaria. He was in the Green Line, because to them, every Jew in Yerushalayim, in Tel Aviv, is a settler. And that was also shattered. That was another conception shattered, that the settlers are not the instigators to the war. Although, what they call the October 7th infiltration? They called it the El-Aqsa flood. It is the flood of El-Aqsa, is the mosque in Yerushalayim over Temple Mount. That is what their goal is. Their goal is to conquer Israel, to take back what the Jews have taken. It's not portions of land. Again, we don't like listening to what the Arabs say. We always think we're smarter. Listen to what they say, from the river to the sea. That is what they mean. We try to make them more moral, more sensible. They know what they mean. We're the only ones we're fooling ourselves, and they're laughing.
So what do you say to the family in California or in Miami or in New Jersey or whatever, an American Jewish family which is being brought up? What do you think they need to do at this point? I mean, honestly, Hamas would like to bring them to the same destiny they like to bring to the people that they killed on October 7th, but the chances of a Hamas reaching New Jersey and Miami is a little bit more difficult. But what do you think American Jews need to do? And what do you think American non-Jews need to do?
I'll start with the easy one. The American non-Jews also need to understand that it's not just about the Jews. Rabbi Sachs always used to say, whatever starts with the Jews never ends only with the Jews. They're going to come for the West because, again, the West is the opposite of the ideology of the jihadist Islamic fundamentalism, right? So they have to wake up and they have to ask themselves, what are their values? And they have to choose who they're siding with. And the same thing, but 10 times more goes for my brother Jews. Israel is the home of all the Jews, whether you're secular or whether you're religious. We don't look at that. And you have to ask yourself, what are you doing for the state of Israel? There are so many ways you could be part of this war. The war is all over. I feel today, Jews have been, you can come and be a tourist in Israel. That is not a luxury a Jew has anymore in Israel. A Jew has to carry the burden. And we all need help to carry that burden, that burden that Israel is under now, the survival of Israel. It depends on every Jew fighting whatever way they can, whether it's through social media, whether it's influence, going to people getting them to help Israel. In any way you can, you as a Jew should have a feeling that you need to be part of what's happening to Israel today. Because the one thing I'm going to repeat, Israel cannot be taken for granted. We are surrounded by enemies that any day could attack us. And we need every Jew we can get, and we're not many.
So with all these enemies, what brings you a sense of optimism?
What brings me a great sense of optimism is belief in God and belief that God has chosen the Jews. No other nation has returned to their homeland after 2,000 years of exile, not one exile, but 2 exiles. Israel's a miracle, and we're proof of it. And that brings me optimism, that if we stay true to who we are, if we stay true that we are Jews, that is what we are. That's the only thing that makes us unique. And God chose us. Then God will spare us, and God will make us prosperous, and Israel will grow, and we will survive, and even more. So that makes me optimistic.
Well, Ariel Chesner, thank you very much for this time together. I love your sense of optimism and your sense of honesty. We face many, many challenges as a people, but if we have that courage, we can face them and we can have a good future.
Amen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
The Rohr Jewish Learning Institute has the largest collection of Jewish media online. Hit subscribe for more.